What's up, guys? Mickle here, and we are currently going through one of the most profound monetary changes the world has ever seen. In this video, I want to talk about what those changes are and how they are massively beneficial for the digital asset XRP. Guys, many people around us see the world changing at a rapid clip, but don't take enough time to sit down and question how it's going to impact their investment going forward. Guys, in this video, we're going to talk about those exact things because I think it's really going to open your eyes to just how powerful, transformational, and significant most of these changes are, but most importantly, how critical XRP is to this entire equation. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Thank you to everyone who takes the time to like the videos and subscribe to the channel. Guys, these two things really do help me out so much. Also, if you have any good place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out my favorite exchange Uphold down in the description of this video. With that said, though, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. Because I want to start out this video and just talk about the environment we're in right now, because what we're seeing play out on the larger time frame is something that people in the XRP community have been talking about for a very long time now. People in the XRP community for years now have been saying we're likely going to go into a time in the near future where the United States dollar isn't that key world reserve currency. We're likely going to see other countries creating their own currencies, becoming more sovereign, and people moving away from using the US dollar. Now, guys, this does not mean the US dollar is going to implode or go away. In fact, I think that's highly unrealistic. But one thing I believe is very realistic is countries all over the world relying more on their own currencies than the US dollar. Now, this has always been one of the most important things for me in terms of investing into XRP. If the entire world was just getting along and saying, hey, we'll just keep using the US dollar, it's no big deal to us, there's really no issue with using the US dollar, well, that wouldn't have been very good for XRP because the US dollar would essentially be this interoperable world reserve currency that everyone agreed on and everyone was okay using. Now, this has always been one of the things that I was worried about with XRP. Were countries just going to start getting along out of nowhere and saying, you know what? We'll just use the US dollar. It's perfectly fine. We don't need a neutral asset. We don't need a decentralized asset. We'll just use this centralized currency because we all trust the United States. Well, guys, as we all know, this is not what's played out. And in fact, the exact opposite is played out. Countries are moving away from the United States at a rapid clip because they can no longer trust them monetarily. Guys, what we have seen is the United States has weaponized the financial system and used it against different countries. And because of that, all these different countries that had the United States financial system weaponized against them are now being forced to say, hey, why would we ever use this currency if we know at any given moment it could be turned against us? And guys, even countries that weren't specifically turned on by the United States have to be looking at this situation and saying, hey, what's our backup plan? What happens if this ever happens to us? Is there a plan in place where we do not have to rely on the United States dollar? And guys, this is so important for a digital asset like XRP, and we're going to get into that in detail in a minute, but I just wanted to show you this. Guys, what I'm saying right here is not speculation. The IMF put out a tweet earlier today specifically showing the decrease in use of the dollar in FX markets. Guys, de-dollarization is a real thing. It doesn't mean the dollar is going to go away, but it does mean countries are being incentivized more and more every day to focus on their own sovereign currency rather than just using a currency that has massive strategic issues by essentially implementing the monetary policy of a country that at any given moment can turn against them. Guys, this is happening in real time, and it is massively beneficial to the thesis behind XRP. What we have seen is Ripple has been a company who has been specifically working with these governments, working with these institutions all around the world to help them create their own sovereign currencies. I want you to listen up to this clip by Brad Garlinghouse real quick.
That is, Ripple has invested and is working with about 10 different governments around the world to do central bank digital currencies. I mean, a central bank digital currency is a stable coin. It's just issued by the government.
So Brad Garlinghouse is directly telling you that they are working with central banks to create currency all over the world for their sovereign nations. This is so important to understand because this goes right over people's heads. Ripple has been dealing with stablecoins for years now. They have been dealing with sovereign national currency stablecoins rather than privatized stablecoins like Tether and USDC. Now, Ripple is creating their own, but what's so important to understand here is Ripple is literally helping de-dollarization happen. And whether or not you think that's a good or bad thing, it's kind of irrelevant because what we know is the world is moving towards this at a rapid clip. Countries need to control their own monetary policy. Countries need to control their own currency. And through tokenization and through technology, Ripple is allowing that to happen. Now, you might be wondering, how does XRP fit in this entire equation? If Ripple is creating these central bank digital currencies, these different tokenized currencies for these different countries, why do you need XRP? Well, guys, the United States is never going to want to take a Chinese yuan, and they're never going to want to take a Russian ruble. Instead, they just want US dollars, and the same goes the other way. None of these nations want to have to trust each other, but they need something in the middle to move assets from point A to point B, and that is exactly where XRP is being positioned. Now, guys, one thing that I think a lot of people miss is exactly why XRP is so special here. And to be honest, they could use any digital asset in the middle, right? They could use Bitcoin, they could use XLM, they could use a million different things. Now, I think there's some technology reasons they might not use something like Bitcoin, but regardless, technically they could use it if they wanted to. So why is XRP so special? Well, Ripple is the only company out there meeting with these central banks right now and making significant progress in allowing this adoption to happen. Guys, there is no company behind Bitcoin who can meet with the central bankers, meet with the large institutions, tokenize their currencies on the Bitcoin blockchain, and then tell them how Bitcoin can be used as liquidity in the middle and create centralized software to allow these transactions to happen seamlessly. And that's the big issue there. There is no one to get them in the room. Ripple has Rosie Rios, a former US treasurer. They have former members of BlackRock. They have former members of the SEC. They have former members of the Federal Reserve, all working together to make these conversations happen and help these central banks and large institutions be onboarded into the XRP ledger system. The XRP ledger is special for a lot of reasons, but there's a lot of other blockchains that can do the same thing as the XRP ledger and maybe even better. Some people hyper-focus on the technology aspect and not enough on who is making the conversations happen, who is getting Ripple and the XRP ledger into the room with these largest institutions. Because I can create a technology tomorrow that is better than the XRP ledger. Okay, maybe I can't actually do that, but say I could. That doesn't mean I'm going to be able to work with 10 central banks. And in fact, I probably couldn't have a conversation with a single central banker no matter how hard I tried. Ripple is working on tokenizing their currencies right now, and Ripple, as a company who holds a 50 billion XRP, is going to be looking to put XRP into that equation. Guys, this is so important to understand. We are moving into a world that plays perfectly into what Ripple is doing and how XRP is going to be strategically positioned. Not enough people talk about this, but it is so critical to the world we're heading into and exactly how this new system is going to work. And guys, if you just take a look at some of the partnerships Ripple is already building out, you can see that this is way more expansive than many people understand. Tranglo alone, one of the larger companies using the XRP ledger for payments, is already plugged into 77 different countries with major banks from each country involved. We are seeing right now all around the world major progress in adopting blockchain technology, but it's behind the scenes. It's the rails. It's the things you don't see in your daily life. And without people specifically digging into these things, there's no point in announcing it to retail. The idea of what's being built here is these new systems will be updated, these new rails will be implemented, and you won't even know about it. This is why such big progress can happen behind the scenes without reports getting pushed to the mass market. Guys, they don't want you to know about this. They don't want retail to understand this transformation is happening because retail doesn't need to know. Retail just needs to know that their system is working faster, more efficient, and that is what's taking place behind the scenes. And guys, I'll finish this video off with one last thing because I think it's so important to understand that Ripple is not only just focused on doing this for the traditional financial system and bring it into the space age of the decentralized financial system, but they're looking to solve a lot of problems in the decentralized financial system as well. This is Jazzy Cooper. She's the head of Ripple's DeFi. And what you're going to learn right here is that Ripple is not stopping at focusing the traditional financial system. They want to focus on fixing the crypto financial system as well. Listen up up this because I believe we are now listening to a narrative take place that Ripple essentially wants to use the XRP ledger to connect all different blockchains out there and create a more seamless internet of value. Listen up to this.
Take a look at traditional finance, and you have these clear silos across different financial institutions. And when open networks and Bitcoin, for example, were introduced, they were really intended to break down those walls, disintermediate and decentralize the financial system and allow for value to flow smoothly throughout the network. And so while that problem was initially solved with the introduction of chains like Bitcoin and the XRP ledger, as time went on and the number of blockchains continued to grow, and you now have L1s, L2s, Ethereum came on the scene, and it just continues to proliferate. It's almost as if we came almost full circle, in that now we have new walls and new silos where liquidity gets trapped on each of these individual blockchains. So interoperability and infrastructure like that of XLR and Layer 0 is a great solution to that problem. And it's finally going to allow for the transfer of value, so tokens moving between these individual chains that all have their unique advantages and reason for attracting users, as well as information through new technologies and advancements like general message passing. So I think there are kind of two clear benefits in terms of how this interoperability will unlock additional liquidity. And the first is market efficiency. So now that value can seamlessly flow between chains, you no longer are going to have the issue where a particular user wants, say, USDC, for example, but that token is not issued on a particular chain. USDC can be brought over by a bridge, for example, and now there's greater.
Guys, I am very excited for what's being built behind the scenes right now. To me, it seems like Ripple has always been over the target. And once institutions step into this asset class in a big way, which I believe we are right around the corner from, I believe there is only one clear winner who's going to benefit most, and that is Ripple and the digital asset XRP. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. It really does mean so much. Happy Father's Day. And for now, Mickle out.